From deep in the Burbank Media District, it's time for another edition of My Burbank Talks. This podcast is presented by the staff of My Burbank. Now, let's see what's on today's agenda as we join our program.
Hello, everybody. Craig Sherwood here, along with Ashley Erikson, Austin Gephardt, and of course, Ross Benson. And we are at beautiful Johnny Carson Park here in Burbank at the Road King 75th anniversary event, which we are very happy to be at. And lots of people here, lots of things going on. We have lots of interviews for you. Ross, why don't you give us a little rundown here?
You know, Craig, thank you very much. Great morning out here. Right now, as we do this, it's like, around 10:30, and there are over, I'd say, 500 people here already. There are over 300 cars all over this park. They're here. They're above the other side of the river. We have a little of everything. I mean, and it's funny because our intro says from the heart of the Media District. We are in the middle of the Media District. We're looking at the Warner Brothers new buildings on the old NBC lot. Disney is right behind us. We're at a gorgeous park, and we're going to have a slew of guests today from the Road Kings.
Yeah.
Ashley, you have done some of the Road Kings.
Yep. I'm really excited to have them on here today.
Yeah.
There's vendor booths around here. There's stormtroopers walking around.
Stormtroopers.
Yep. I saw a whole load of stormtroopers. Princess Leia just came out of the bathroom. So it's going to be a really fun day today.
Wow. It's there's food. Like she said, there's the hot dog guy doing breakfast burritos, hot dogs. He sells stuff. There's shirts. You can get all set. Craig, we're right next to Community Chevrolet's booth.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And Bob Greene is here from, he has a truck sitting next to us. You'll be able to catch in the video. We'll have him over and talk about this nice, shiny.
Oh.
Yeah, Community Chevrolet is a good supporter of My Burbank, and we appreciate their support. And we also appreciate their support in the community because they've been here for a long time. They have a long history, and they do care about the community and want to give back.
And they just won Best Car Dealership in Burbank in our My Burbank's Best contest.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and they should.
They should, definitely. I probably kind of slipped looking at my notes here. I forgot to introduce, we have our technical person with us today, our audio person, our photographer for My Burbank, Austin Gephardt. I know Craig had said his name, and he's helped us set up at the crack of dawn. I don't know if he was here before the sun came up, but I was told that they started setting up at 4 in the morning.
Yeah, the sun still hasn't come up, but that's okay. Welcome to June.
But I will say I was asleep at that time. The sun.
Yeah. No sun today, but it is nice. The weather is perfect, actually.
And while we're
Couldn't
talking,
imagine it being too hot out
we're
here.
talking about Austin, I want to, for those of you that are trying to watch us on video now and stuff, Austin's the one who set our podcast studio up. Austin's the one who's done all the hard, heavy lifting and done a magnificent job. And now today he's actually shooting a little of the video you're going to see during our podcast. But we appreciate all he does. Austin, you do a great job, and thank you for everything.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Needs a sound effect.
Yeah, we you could put a horse in there.
Oh, yeah.
Austin does horse shows. He's
There you go.
and I bet you he has ridden horses faster than that. I'm looking out from our booth. We've been provided a nice pop up, and we're sitting over here and just looking out, gazing from our box seats here. I see the fire department has a couple of antique vehicles here. Looking over there, one is a Crown fire engine, which was in service just a couple years ago, and sitting next to it is the fire department's Moreland fire engine that was, I believe, built here in Burbank. It's been totally restored. You can come out and talk to the fire guys about those vehicles. I'm also told there is one of the old police cars.
Yep, that's here today, too.
And I hear Sam Anderson. We will have him over, and it's just going to be a great day. So,
Okay, well, why don't everybody stand by? We're going to find a couple guests, and we will be right back.
We have our first guests here on our podcast today. We have Karen and Gary Arellano from the Burbank Road Kings. Karen is the president and Gary is the special events coordinator, and they put together this amazing event today. Welcome, Karen and Gary. Thank you for joining our show today.
Thank you very much.
So tell me, this is the car show of the year that you've been putting on. What is the work involved to put on something like this?
Okay, this car show, which is our annual car show at Johnny Carson, is we start working on it in January. We should start in December, really. And we just start, getting sponsors for trophies, getting the flyers out, going to car shows, sharing the information everywhere we can. And then we start putting together what we're going to do. We get the registrations in. We have to log all those, make cards for all the cars. We put together from various Burbank vendors and others goodie bags with fun things in them, hats, pens, whatever we can collect. And then we get everything ready. And then the day before the show, we come over to Johnny Carson, and then we start getting everything ready and hope for good weather.
And it is good weather today. We were very lucky. It's not hot. It's actually really beautiful out. And you guys have been here since the crack of dawn.
5 a.m.
Yeah, that's pretty early to get.
4:30.
Oh, was it? Okay, I missed that.
4:30 is a lot worse than 5. Yeah, it's an amazing turnout. How are you guys feeling about this day so far?
I am just excited. I cannot believe everybody has shown up. We have so many cars. We have Mercs. We have every other car you can think of. People with that. We have bikes, motorcycles. We have vendors. The food seems to be good. I see people with tons of food and wandering around. So
Yeah,
we're doing really good. Everything. It's the same as a really good car show. One of our best.
I got to say, Gary, putting something like this together when you got pop-ups, you provided us with a pop-up. We got a table. We got chairs. I got to really thank you for the padded chair you got me.
You're very welcome.
I know I'm kind of the big guy over at my Burbank, and I appreciate the padded chair. That's class act.
Compliments of Community Chevrolet, Bob Greene.
Well,
Yeah.
Bob is, one of our sponsors with my Burbank. But no, something like this, I know yesterday when I came over here, you guys were pulling your hair out and just kind of just lining up where things are going to be. And it's not an easy task. But when you're going to sleep tomorrow, get to sleep in, you look back at it and go, wow, we pulled it off.
Knocked it off. Yeah, we have a really good, amazing crew that we all worked together and got it all done, did all our tasks, and it all came together.
And so you think of Road Kings, tons of cars, and you got a great showing of cars today.
Yes, we did.
It's just amazing. But you guys are in Road Kings because of your cars.
Yes.
When
What
did
do you-
you join the club?
Well, I joined first about 5 years ago, and he joined a year after I did. So we're both members. We're the only couple that's both members.
Oh, wow. And you're the first woman president.
I am
You're
that.
Madam President.
I am and proud to be so.
Yes. And you have a car here today?
Yes, I do. I have my 1956 red and white Nomad.
Oh, that's beautiful. Gary, do you have a car here too?
Yeah, no, I do not.
Oh, we didn't let his out of that garage because
Ah,
mine
yeah.
had to come out first.
Well, I will say that you guys were on. Okay, Gary, he's got to sneak away. He's got
Yes,
an
they're good to go.
emergency car call with a car that needs some help. So we'll stay with you here.
Okay.
And I know there's just so much that goes on, at a show like this. You're going to present some awards later?
Yes, we will. We have two different sets. We'll have the Mercs Awards earlier. There's 4 trophies for that. And then we have 25, top 25 for the Road Kings. We have a best of show, the most unique. We actually have a participation club for the club that brought the most members, which we're going to work on that. And then we have 2 motorcycle trophies as well because we have a section for the motorcycles.
Who does the judging for the contest?
Actually, Bob Arellano is in charge of that, and he gets about 10 or 12 Road Kings, and they go around by sections. And it's not by class, it's not by some of that. It's the top 25. So if it catches your eye,
Mm-hmm.
it gets, it's going to get attention.
Amazing.
Well, this is fantastic. I mean, you guys have done a great job as Madam President, I will say, to work with a ton of guys that are pretty pushy and probably, they think they know more about their cars than you do. But it's fantastic what you've pulled off today, and we
Actually,
really appreciate you stopping by and giving us a little update.
Well, you want to say all those guys, while they might be pushy a little, they're all wonderful to work with, and they've done a fantastic job.
And Gary's just putting his headset back on. He had to handle something on the radio real fast. Gary, with this is where we'll give you a second to, give us your 2 cents. I know you jumped off headset because you're the guy with a microphone or a radio and a cell phone, and you're answering and taking care of problems. What do you think?
I heard Jay Leno was in the house, so we're trying to confirm that and have him park down below. If that's true, I'm not sure.
Oh, that's a good reason to jump off headset.
Yeah, that would be a reason.
Well, this playground right here, we couldn't sit any closer. It's the Jay Leno playground.
There you go.
Oh.
See?
A little trivia a lot of people don't know about
I
this.
did not know that. That's new.
So we still have a couple cars coming in. And the gates are closed, but we're going to open them up. If they want to come in, we're going to bring them in.
Well, as we said in our intro, you got food, you got vendors, you got hot dogs, you got cars, you got fire engines, you got police cars. I think you land a helicopter in here or something, but
Yeah.
got everything else going.
When did you get into cars? Is that something you've always been into as a kid?
Actually, our first date was at one of the Road King car shows.
Oh my gosh.
So he liked the old cars for one reason, and I just liked them because they caught my eye. My first car was a 65 Mustang, and my dad was not happy with me because I bought it without him.
Ooh.
But, and it had many issues. So I had to sell it and get a real car. But now that I have Gary that can fix everything for me, I'm in great shape, and I
It's a
can
true
get all these.
partnership.
Yes,
True partnership.
I've got 4 1956 Chevys that will one day all be running.
I love
Oh,
that.
cool.
My background is my dad worked for George Barris back in the 60s and 70s. My brother and I worked around that. That's why we got involved in all these custom cars and hot rods.
Now there's a name, George Barris. He's passed on, but he was real close to Burbank. Had a couple of, I know somebody that also worked for him in the accounting department of his. But he had some pretty classic cars.
Yeah. They started out with
you walk around here, and I'll tell you, there's a couple cars here that could come off of his showroom floor.
Oh yeah, they didn't realize that he was a custom car builder like all these Mercs that are here, and then got involved in the studio cars. That's where the money was at, and together did an awesome job. But so we've been around the Road Kings since day one. I know Fast Eddie, for a long time, and me and her and I went to all the shows and they had at the hotel back in the day, then the Equestrian Center, and then we bought a car, and then bought another car, and then we go. And then
Now you're taking over the club. Look at that.
We're enjoying it.
Yeah.
We're having lots of fun.
So other than this car show, what other events do you normally have throughout the year?
Well, we'll go to anyone's car shows that are local. We try to go to those, help them with their whatever it is they're raising money for. And then we work with the Elks. We're going to go work, I guess I would say work. They're going to have a chili cook-off, and I think we're going to go there, bring some cars for them. We do bring cars when certain events like the Chamber and that. We'll bring cars as they need them. So we just kind of go wherever it is and have fun. They'll go up to Big Bear, I think, in 2 weeks or in mid-July. They go up to Big Bear, and they have a ton of Road Kings that'll go up there and they have a car show up there.
Cool.
Wonderful.
Well, Big Bear is a great place to be. I haven't been up there in many years. I remember they used to do the old minor days when Big Bear Boulevard was a 2-lane
Oh,
highway,
wow.
and they would close
Okay.
it down, and it was just they had brought in cars and a little of everything. So
Yep. So we're just kind of go and do whatever we can to share our cars and take them and do things.
He's
Well-
been so far this year. We went to Grand National Show
Yes.
January at Pomona. From there we went to Del Mar. From there we went to Sacramento. Then we did what's that called? The Benedict
Benedict
Castle.
Castle car show. It's a facility for boys, men struggling and whatever, and it's in a castle.
Oh,
And that thing was the most unique thing and a whole bunch of fun.
sounds amazing.
There we went to the Steve McQueen one, same thing. And that was a fun show. So we've been traveling quite a bit.
Yeah, that's a lot in the last few months.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is your 70th anniversary? 75th?
Last year.
Last
Oh,
year was
last year
70.
Okay.
71st this year, yeah.
That's amazing. Congratulations. Well, it's a
super. Well,
beautiful
again,
day.
we appreciate you stopping by. Thank you for keeping. This is what I call community. Yeah, I've talked to people that I've known for years that I went to school with. Thanks for keeping community going in Burbank. Great place to have it. Great. Everybody loves cars. And again, thank you, Ashley, for wanting to do your first interview with them.
I had to. Me and Karen, we go back.
We go back.
We're besties now, so
we work together. Oh yeah, and don't forget Holiday in the Park.
We're
going to be there too.
Show. Yeah.
Yes.
That's coming up. That's
November 17th.
around the corner.
Save the date.
We're going to start working on that next.
Yeah, it's June 1st I started, so we will be in contact to get you guys back out there. Well, I know you guys have a busy day, and you're putting out a lot of fires, and you're making everyone happy around here, so we will let you go. And thank you so much for stopping by today.
Thank you.
Great.
Guys.
Thank you very much. You guys have a good day. We'll talk to you soon.
You know, I just grabbed Bob Beck as he was walking by for a quick interview. He had his hot dog all wrapped up to go back to the stage. Bob, I've seen you here for many, many years. You've announced these shows, and people, as soon as you hear this voice on this podcast, you'll recognize Bob Beck.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad to be recognized.
What do you think of today's show, Bob?
Today is fantastic. You know what I love about it? We got a little cloud cover. Those people that were afraid of rain, cars don't shrink in the rain. They come out, and they're here, and it's perfect. Temperature's great. Everyone's comfortable. The cars are close. We've got over 300 cars just in the lower section alone. So this is an amazing show.
You know, one of these days I'm gonna get you to do my outgoing message on my phone machine. that voice of yours up on the stage is just so well known.
Thank you. Yeah, 45 years. I've been overnight success. It's so it's been fun. We're doing a whole lot of stuff. Actually, this car show, when I was the president of the Road Kings, we moved it here. We're at the LA Equestrian Center.
Right.
That was such a job to put on a show. Don Baldaseroni was the vice president. I was the president. We said, we got to make it easy. We got to make it fun. And we moved it here to Johnny Carson Park.
Wow. And it's just, you got upper field, you got lower field, you got, as we said, some of the stuff you have here. I'm going to let you get back to enjoying that hot dog.
Thank you.
And I bet you there's some announcements up on that stage. But have a great day, and thanks for stopping by the booth, Bob.
Well, thank you, and thanks for being here with us. You stole my hot dog, Rob.
We have Detective Sam Anderson here, and he has brought the vintage 1949 Ford Police Cruiser here to the Johnny Carson Car Show. Welcome, Sam. Thank you for being here.
Good morning.
How are you, Sam? It's good to see you.
Yes, sir.
Gorgeous weather for you today. You're not melting, and you got your vest on and wearing black. And
very comfortable.
You brought that shiny car. I have seen you dust that car. I've seen you with a shining rag. You take care of that car. I've seen you parades. I've seen you at other events. You keep that car up. But I tell you, that car is kind of a classic to Burbank.
It is, and if I didn't take care of it, Paul Orlowski would probably come kill me if I didn't do it.
If not, he'd make you be his band Rodeo.
Yes.
Rodeo? Yeah.
Rody.
Yeah. I followed him a couple of times. I've gone to a couple of places.
I've never seen him play.
Oh, yeah. He used to play at Vivas when Vivas was still here. And then he did a couple of gigs here in Burbank. And
good. Yeah, I heard he's a good musician.
But he was down in your department. And you used to do traffic accident investigation.
Yeah, so I took over for Paul.
Yeah, and people don't understand traffic accident investigation. Insurance companies, somebody gets hurt, you got to come up with a report. You can't just make this stuff up. There's skid marks. There's evidence.
Correct.
And stuff that you, as a investigator, but now you're working upstairs, I hear.
Yeah, I'm doing backgrounds, and we're processing the concealed weapons, concealed carry licenses for the residents of Burbank. So
how do you like coming out? I'm stealing your show.
That's okay. Go for it. I just want to know about the car. It's so pretty, and you drive it here, right?
I do, yes.
Okay, so it only goes from the station to the event.
Yeah, so most of the year it's stored in the museum with the fire department stuff, and then when the car show season starts, and I'll pull it out, and then I'll just keep it accessible for a couple months, take it to different events. And
now most people don't understand when that car was on the street. That's before we had walkie-talkies or portables or radios. Before they had heaters and air conditioning.
Right. Yeah, that has a radio in it, but I don't think it was actually correct for the time. I believe then they had to
call boxes.
Call boxes, and I think there was a light up on the hill. They said there was a light on a post, and when the light went on, the officers would see it, and they'd go to the nearest box and pick it up and see where they were supposed to go.
Would you say police work has changed a little?
A little bit, yeah.
You know? And then you're that car is immaculate. But you're a car guy.
I am.
That's why.
That's why I'm kind of like the one doing it. So I can drive. Not many kids now know how to drive the clutch.
And is it on the column or is it?
Yeah, it's a 3 in the tree, and it has the old drum brakes and no power steering. So I think just the newer guys, unless they're into cars, which we don't have many guys into the cars at all, they just won't be prepared to stop a little sooner.
You think of last night there were 3 pursuits, I think, that CHP was in and LAPD. You think of that car.
I can't imagine doing it in that car.
Back in the day.
No, a lot of crashes, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Do you own your own classic cars at all?
I do. I have a few old Fords, so I tinker on those and drive them as daily drivers. So
I love that.
yeah, it's kind of my thing.
So I'm sure you look forward to this event every year.
Yeah, it's fine. I think everybody just looks at me like, oh, he'll just do it because he's got the old cars. So but I know at some point somebody's gonna have to take over. So who knows?
Well, that's kind of neat because I know years ago there was a Burbank police officer, Detective John Colicchio.
Oh yeah.
Who had a good collection of cars, and I always wanted to do a story on his garage full of cars, and he said, I don't want anybody to really know what kind of cars I have. But it's neat I think people need to realize you're a normal guy. You're a car guy. Besides being a police officer, which you do 8 to 5, you do your background checks. You were a patrolman. You were a detective.
Born and raised in Burbank.
Yep, born and raised in Burbank.
And see, Burbank people don't. Every street, every alley.
Yeah.
You remember playing over at the Pollywog, or Johnny Carson Park, and the old fire department had chili cook-offs over here.
Yeah.
And that's what's so neat, that you're a Burbank resident, and you're not only doing your job that you love, but you also get to do it with your car.
Yeah, it means a little more when you kind of take it a little more personal, not personal, personal. So just because it's just been part of your life for so long.
Well, I think, and like I say, kids need to hear this now. They're all into, let's do things how we do it today. But it's a good job.
Yes.
I mean, people don't realize, besides the benefits, the pay is good. And Burbank is a pretty safe city to work in.
It's a good town. I mean, we have good equipment, and at least the city, the residents still appreciate you and aren't looking to get rid of you.
That's the thing. I shoot up quite a few pictures of the recruits coming in as we saw each other at sheriff's graduation. And these kids don't realize when they go through training with the sheriff's department or Rio Hondo, they can get put out in a city where you don't get waved at.
Right.
The nice thing about working here, people appreciate you.
For sure.
And you have a chief that backs you up.
Yep.
And he loves doing community stuff. He was on our podcast at Fire Service Day.
Okay.
And he realized when, changing from his LAPD days, 10 years ago when he came here, it's a totally different world.
Yeah, it is.
So
I got to go with the flow.
Yeah, yeah. But we have a great police department. Like, I know we need to get more officers. It's hard to get officers these days, good officers.
We're doing it. We're testing every month, so we're getting a little bit here and there. It's just.
Yeah, we just did a recruitment article and all the different steps and the written exam and the oral exam and the interviews and the physical. I mean, it's a lot. It's a big process.
It is, and but being a small city, like I can, same with like Glendale and Pasadena, we are a little more selective on who we pick. We aren't gonna grab a bunch of people to fill some seats. It's just that'd be a mistake in the long run.
Well, I just we did the torch run. Ashley and I did the torch run the other day. The Special Olympics torch run, and one of the officers is a Burbank High graduate, Cardoff.
Cardosh?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I remember shooting pictures of him playing basketball.
Oh, yeah.
And then I did his recruit graduation, and his mom came up to me and said, "Don't you remember I called you after every Burbank High basketball game?"
Yeah.
But again, a Burbank kid, wanted to be a police officer. He's been on now for a couple of years.
I'm still waiting for your coffee table books, Ross, of all the collisions and stuff. I mean,
you and I have done. People don't realize. I remember years ago there was a fatality accident on Magnolia Boulevard at about Reese, and an old officer who's now passed away, Rick Madrid, was in charge of the traffic department, and he had me shoot a filament to a headlight.
Oh yeah.
And people do not realize small evidence like that. You walk around a scene, you got firemen treating people, you got witnesses, you got people in the street. You don't realize that little element.
Tells you if the lights were on or not, yeah.
Yeah, and now the computers in cars, which you
we download those, so you can read what the cars are doing.
Yeah, and it's science.
Yeah, you got to get warrants for all that, and just there's a lot going on when someone dies in a crash.
Yeah, and in fact, our announcer Craig Durling, he was a traffic investigator for Torrance, and just recently retired, and he went to CHP school in reconstruction.
Yeah,
People don't realize
hard.
everything
Yeah, I hated that class. Yeah, it was rough.
but to put it all back together, it's always, I took some fire science classes. Rats don't start fires, Rats don't carry matches.
Right.
You got to find out that cause.
Yeah.
Same thing with an accident.
Yeah, it's fun.
You know.
It's interesting.
Well, it gives you don't come in and just twiddle your thumbs at work every day. You have something to do almost probably every day.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So
traffic's one of the biggest issues here in town.
Yep.
So.
Well, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
I know the citizens of Burbank appreciate you.
Yep, I know that.
That car that you're driving, that Ford, every time I see it, I know who will be driving it. I've shot your pictures many times. You keep it looking gorgeous.
Great, thank you.
I will probably see you at Holiday in the Park. I know if you worked that.
Oh, for sure.
You used to do Ladies and Gents Night Out.
Yep.
I know.
Quite a bit. It's coming back.
Is it really?
Well, they're coming. I'm on that. I sit on Magnolia Park. They're not going to do it every Friday. It's going to be a seasonal thing.
Oh, okay.
Just a couple of times. But people are asking for it.
That's nice.
Just community.
Yeah.
You know what community is because you live in a city, or you grew up in a city that's a real community.
Sure.
And it's stuff like this car show today that brings out the community. Isn't this cool? You're seeing
Great.
people.
Yeah. I see a lot of people I know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you, and
Thank you.
I just want to add one more question.
Yes.
When you take it back to the station, it's in the museum, right? So is it on display in that little room?
Yeah, it's in the front, the museum that's off the lobby there between the
Yeah,
fire department and the
people
police
can come
department.
see it through the
Yeah,
lobby.
you can set up tour dates, and then they bring kids through there all through the year, and different
Yeah.
tours get to
Cool.
see it. So
I don't think many people realize that we have a little museum.
I know,
there.
and I think it hasn't changed much in a while. And I think the other fireman that's here
ready
with the
to go.
old that's in charge of the old thing, he wants to kind
Go
of
into it.
talking about it. Kind of needs a little
Revamp.
revamp.
yeah, when there's oil dripping on it, do you have to climb under?
Yeah, put some pads down there, and
Mhm.
yeah, because it does leak.
Well, everybody years ago used to watch a TV show, and we're going to close out with this theme song that you probably have heard a million years.
Okay.
But how many police officers went to work for? We had to throw that in for you. Sam.
I like it. I like it.
Way to end your interview.
Thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, you bet.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
How would you like your business advertised in this very spot? My Burbank Talks is looking for businesses interested in a 30-second spot to appear in our podcasts. If you're interested, please email advertising@myburbank.com, and we'll be glad to discuss all of the exciting opportunities with you. Now, back to our podcast.
Hi, we have Ian Roussel from Full Custom Garage here with us today.
And we have Fast Eddie Salvador, who has been around Burbank longer than I think the park that we're in. If you know Burbank and you know cars, you happen to have known Fast Eddie. In fact, Eddie's pretty well known. He knew this guy that made some show called Happy Days. And one of his buddies is Ron Howard, and they went to John Burroughs. I'll say John Burroughs. We've had some people on from Burbank High, that other school today.
Where's that?
Fast Eddie remembers the days. Now, if you're a longtime person, we can go on for hours talking about River Road, which is now Forest Lawn Drive, and where the guys after a football game and when the sun went downward, you'd end up really testing out your car. Right, Eddie?
Oh, yeah, I've made a couple crashes down that road. I rolled over one of my trucks racing down there. We all live, though.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. You've been doing Road Kings for how long now?
Actually started back in 1986.
86.
Yeah, they kind of faded out, and a friend of mine by the name of Mike Walsh, who's now passed away, great guy, he came to me one day and said, "Hey, man, what do you think about starting the Road Kings back up?" And I go, "Let's do it." And we got together and got two more guys and started at Marty's Hot Dog in in Sun Valley, and Before you know it, there was like 27 of us, and the next thing we had to move. And it's just now, I think there's about 90 of us now.
Wow,
Oh,
90.
wow.
And what's so cool is look at how many cars you got out here today. Is this amazing?
This is a mind blower. I'm a Merc man. I've owned Mercs. I have a Merc here. I never saw so many Mercs in one place as long as I've been in the car industry.
It is amazing. I know Ashley was going to ask you some stuff. Little car guy, huh?
Little bit. I can't quit the habit.
It is a habit, isn't it?
It is more of an addiction than a habit. It's full on.
Isn't that, but that's,
Lifestyle.
Yeah.
it's lifestyle. But you look at the friends you have built. You know, you come to a car show like this. I saw Jay Leno, a few minutes ago. Just come to look at cars. He's not here. He's posing for pictures. You, I saw, were posing for pictures.
It's all
People-
about the cars for
people-
sure.
And what brought us all out today is these cars.
100%. I mean, I come from I don't know if you'd call it the shady side of town, but I actually came up in Sun Valley. But
Hey.
of course, to come to Burbank, Bob's Big Boy, every Friday night. That's really what got me introduced to this whole culture.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. Do you have any cars here today, or?
3 of my projects, Victor, my client, owns them. But yeah, we got the Rivy. There's one of his Mercs, and then I have the Merc Eater, that Packard thing.
Wow, cool. This is just the attendance today, and it's it's early, it's only noon, and people have been coming all day, and it's just great to see. People love cars, and the weather's perfect. It's just like no blazing sun, so we're all sweating, but we were worried about rain. But look at these cars and talk about pristine paint jobs, pristine engine work. It is just I've walked amongst some of these cars. It's mind blowing. You could eat your dinner off a couple of these blocks.
Don't look under my hood.
There's really nothing like the SoCal car culture scene. There's nothing. I've traveled a lot for car shows, and this, especially the Valley, it's iconic. It's got its own flavor.
That's years ago. We used to do Burbank on Parade.
Yeah.
Noel had cars. He'd be moving people. I want to bring that back somewhere like on Magnolia Boulevard. Close it off from Hollywood way to Buena Vista. Do a car show. Close it down for night and day. Park your car. Look at your buddy's car. Look at other cars. Like here, we even got classic fire engines out here.
Yeah.
We got a Moreland out here. The Crown, the Ford police car. We talked to the officer that polishes that. He's an old Burbank resident. He grew up here, went to school here. And now he's polishing in that cop car, and he loves it. He owns a couple of cars himself. It's just in your blood, isn't it, buddy?
Yeah, I met Ian in 1998. I had a wrecking yard in Sun Valley called PDQ Auto Wrecking. Ian came in and needed a part, and I helped him out. And speaking of the Burbank police car, well, I had a Ford wrecking yard, and I gave him one of the fenders to put on that car 35 years ago.
Wow. Well, it's just, like I said, I love looking. We have everything out here. We got young kids. I've seen some people walking. This is kind of laid out nice. People in their wheelchairs or their jazzy wheelchairs. People walking with cars. There's no age gap. I mean, people.
Well, that's the thing too about car shows like this in a downtown area like this. It exposes the younger kids to this. All the younger generation is on the internet nowadays, watching each other do TikTok dances when they should be here checking out the actual history. And as Eddie said, having this lineup of Mercs, it's just such an impressive collection.
Well, with you saying that, I'd love to invite you back into this town someday, and we work on that because, I know we have West Coast Customs in town.
Mm-hmm.
They now have a class through the Burbank Unified School District. My Burbank has done a story. In fact, Ashley did the story on that, where you can get class credit.
Yeah.
And they take you in, they teach you how to
Yeah.
work on cars right there, and I'd love to bring you back. And, we don't have auto shop. I remember my auto shop, Mr. Goodlaw.
When did they take auto shop from the high schools? With?
Oh, many, many years ago. I mean,
Yeah.
when I started driving, you got to know if your car doesn't start,
Yeah.
why doesn't it start? These kids now,
Is it
they
a
just
dying
call-
art form now? Are we-
they just call AAA.
yeah.
And all these cars nowadays are like video games.
Yeah.
We just got a 2023 Hyundai, and I can't. I'm not even compatible with it. It tells you what to do all the time.
I've seen the ones that sing to you and light up and
Yes.
dance, and it's like
Crazy.
Well, there's some way, this is good proof that we should bring back those auto shop classes, these classes that teach these kids.
If for nothing less than self-discipline and focus on something other than the digital world.
Yeah.
And I know there's, we've had incidents go on in town where kids are drag racing up on Glen Oaks and so forth, and we
That's
had
where my shop was, Glen Oaks Boulevard.
we had a tragic accident up there, and trying to get these kids to go to the proper places. You don't have to go on a city street and
They're shutting down all the tracks everywhere.
yeah, and I think it's something that these kids need to learn. You got to respect your car. You're talking a ton machine that you have full control of.
We went to the dinner at SEMA in Vegas, and they had a big discussion on just that, how the powers that be are really trying to make cars less of a passionate thing and more of just like a toaster, just an accessory to move you, and really making such an effort to eliminate them for the most part.
Yeah, it's we're in a weird transition right now, and I'm so glad you joined us to talk. I'm glad I got to meet you, and if you know the guy to your left there, Mr. Salvador, I'll tell you, I found you going anywhere. I went to the Talleyrand one day. I mentioned his name. They gave me a free cup of water. I mean, it was the best deal of the day.
Wow. I mentioned him once, and there was some rotten vegetables tossed at me. I had to get out quick.
Well, no, I'm glad you stopped by, and glad you brought Ian over. And
Eddie,
I'm sorry.
Noel's my brother.
Which one's better looking?
I am.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Where's your shop now? where you
Well, it's
located?
at my house out in Mojave,
Okay.
out in the middle of the desert. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I rented a number of places through the valley, Sun Valley, Van Nuys, and 2 other places a little more out of town. But
Yeah.
I settled in Mojave. My friend Gene Winfield lives out there, and I got to looking around, found a nice old horse ranch.
Yeah. And you're known for the custom fabrication, right? Like one man, one car.
Yeah, that's why I do just work out of my garage.
Yeah.
Occasionally, I'll collaborate with different painters or bodywork guys, but for the most part, I do what I do. Yeah.
You just come up with the ideas and just run with it with what parts you've got. And
Yeah, our TV show really pushes me too. They always want some new designs.
yeah,
And
you
crazier
got to keep
thing that I-
topping it every time.
Yeah, we're 9 years into
It's
our
incredible.
film session.
Not
so,
because
yeah.
I know him, but this guy is a genius in
Yeah.
what he does. I mean, if you watch his show, I just get blown away. I go, damn, how does that guy know how to do all this stuff?
Yeah.
Well,
I
that's
just
why
do a lot
I'm
also.
so glad you're here today. Glad you you took your time to come out and look around, bring your cars,
Yeah, for sure.
and
Big
I
show.
hope we can get you back here.
I'd love to.
You're always welcome to Burbank. Being a lifelong Burbank resident, my Burbank, you give us a call. Let's talk and
I like
get you back into Burbank. And
Thanks, man. I
talk
appreciate
cars.
it. Yeah,
Thank you
sure.
for being here.
Yeah, you're welcome.
and now, what's your next on your?
Sleep. Yeah, I'm happy Ian showed up, man.
Yeah.
I didn't think he'd come because it was Gene Winfield's. I don't know if you guys know Gene Winfield, very famous. And, it was his birthday, so I thought, okay, he's gonna skip us. But
Hands
little
down.
boy showed up.
Yeah, I wouldn't miss this. It's super,
Do you come every
cool.
year to the car show?
Well, prior to COVID, I had come, and then things got shut down. But this is my first time back since.
Awesome.
Then,
Yeah. And it's bigger than I feel like it has been in a long time. There's a lot of people out today. So
Good vibes for
Yeah.
sure.
Good vibes.
Yeah, great.
It just isn't it. Again, Ian, thank you very much. And I tell you, it just I love looking at the people that continue to walk by and loving it.
A lot of familiar faces too. It's so cool.
Good, yeah. It's a culture that you see going to car shows that, you see people and, hey, how you doing and all. So,
Mhm.
super.
Deal. Thank you.
Thank you.
we have Harry Burkholder and Robert Reel with us today, who have some cars here at the car show. Welcome, guys. Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here. Tell me about what you brought today.
Well, we brought my old fuel-altered drag racing car, and we raced down here. We raced out of Sacramento, California, but we came down here because all the fuel shows were down here.
Mhm.
And through the 70s, believe it or not, and we brought the car that I built in 1968, and we raced it through 1973. And we would pick Robert up at his house and take him out to the races, and then Mom and Dad would come out. So we've been connected through drag racing, over these years. We have that car restored and back, and we cackled it, fired up on nitro, make noise and make flames and that kind of stuff. So that's what we're doing here. And if I could put a plug in for Nitro Revival coming up in November, the first weekend in November, and we're here basically supporting Steve and Cindy Gibbs with their promotion. It's going to be an incredible gathering of all kinds of 70s, 60s, and 70s fuel cars. There, they expect to have 78 of them, I believe.
That's amazing.
It's going to be something.
Yeah.
Robert keeps the car down here in Lake Balboa.
Okay.
Because most of the events are here. And I live in Nampa, Idaho, but I've never been to this event. So I said, you know what? I'm going to fly in. And so I'm a fly-in.
Wow, welcome to Burbank.
I'm a fly-in crew chief.
That's amazing. But you bring the car here every year?
This is the second year.
Second
We brought
year?
it last
Okay.
year. We know some of the people that on the Road Kings, and they invited us. and
Bob
said
here,
we'd bring
yep.
it, and they asked us if we would start it, and we said sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's here. We might as well.
So you started it at 11, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to start it again at 2.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if
was
we're going to
very
do
loud.
that one.
Did you hear it?
I did. I walked over there, and I tried to get as close as possible before my eardrum started to burst. But
That's why I put the earmuffs
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
yeah, and there was a girl, I think, inside the car with the helmet on. I was watching. Do you put people in the car when you start it
Yeah.
up?
No, that was the car next to us.
Okay.
We're the green car.
Yes,
the
yes.
green and white
That was
car.
it.
Yeah.
And I'm in the car.
Robert's
now.
always in the car. He's
That's
the,
awesome.
yeah.
What is the decibel on that?
What's that?
Oh boy.
That is loud.
well, we were fortunate. We were just a couple of kids, back in the late '60s when we started drag racing, and we built all of our cars. I built every chassis and did all the motor work of every car that we raced, and we had pretty darn good luck, given the fact that we were 400 miles away from Mecca down here. This was drag racing central, but we had pretty good luck. We set the national record at Orange County in 1971, 205 miles an hour in 7.06 seconds, and so we had good success with the car. Robert keeps it here because most of the events are down here. He just keeps it flawless. I mean, it's just polished beautifully. Yeah, that's it. So
yeah.
That's incredible.
That's a great
So-
story. I mean, we're cousins, and
Yeah.
so there's a bunch of friends here that are down here that help us with everything, and it's just it's a labor of love. I mean, it's I've been doing it since I started going with him when I was 8 years old.
We were just talking about how car fabrication is like a dying art form, and they don't teach auto in high school anymore.
Exactly.
And these generations are growing up and not knowing how to do anything with the car because everything's automatic and push start. And so, when did you get into it? Like, has this always been something as a child?
Well, we're always asked that question. Everybody said, "How did you ever build these cars? Where did you study? Who did you work with?" I worked at Procter & Gamble Manufacturing in a soap factory. Okay.
Oh, wow.
And so we just sat down with a sketch pad and we looked at what people were doing and we just built it.
Yeah.
And if it didn't work, I changed it until it worked. So.
Trial and error.
And those were the days when all the innovation was taking place. And you're right, we're losing that. Kids don't work in service stations anymore, and which is what we did. And we used to cruise up and down Main Street.
Yeah.
Our life was the movie American Graffiti when we were kids, but none of that happens anymore. So we're losing that element. I feel good about, I'm over in the Boise, Nampa area, Idaho, and I see a whole bunch of people picking up painting and fabrication skills.
Good.
And I see some of the builders over there bringing on young kids and mentoring them. So maybe there's some hope.
I hope so. I think, especially during the pandemic when everything shut down,
Yes.
it was the trades that were still going, knowing a service and a trade. And I think it's so important to have that skill set when you get out of high school, is knowing how to do something with your hands, whether it's building or fabricating or something, because that will never go away.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
I'm not really keyed into any of the tech schools that are going on down here, but we have 3 of them in the Treasure Valley, the southern area of Idaho, and I toured through one of them, and it's amazing what they're doing with kids. Everything from computer graphics to welding to fabrication, automotive repair, automotive computer work, and it's really good to see it. you know.
Yeah. Yeah, well, thank you guys so much for being here, and I'm excited to hear it start up again and see you guys over there, and have an amazing rest of this car show.
Great, thanks for having us.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
We have Don Baldaseroni here with the Burbank Road Kings. He's joining us today from the event. Welcome for being on our show today.
Well, welcome back. Well,
So tell me how you're involved in the Road Kings. When did you get involved? What's your position? What's your past positions?
okay. I got involved probably 1986, 87, and that's when the reorganization actually started again with the Road Kings. And I've been past all the different offices, including president, and right now, and car show chairman for 15 years. And then this year, I'm community relations representative to the Burbank Road Kings, which I like doing.
Is that your favorite position so
It's
far?
my favorite position because it's not as stressful.
Yeah.
Is it going to rain today?
Yeah,
You
not
know?
your problem.
Not my problem.
That's Gary's problem.
That's right.
He was here earlier stressed
Yeah.
out, running with his microphone.
Oh, I know, and I've done it a million times.
Yeah.
And, you know,
So you get to come here and enjoy it. You said you don't have a car here today, but you have some at home.
yes.
What cars do you have at home?
I have a '55 Chevy, has flames on it, and then I have a '79 Trans Am, special edition, Smoking the Bandit. I bought brand new in '78 in Burbank,
Mm-hmm.
and I love the cars.
Yeah.
Today, I have the Historical Society bus here.
Yeah, I saw.
And,
What?
Historical Society bus?
Historical Society.
Yes, I didn't say hysterical.
Okay, I thought that's what I heard, and I was going to say,
No.
I'm going to go over there and.
Calm them down.
Mary Jane would have died if anybody says, when she was on Birmingham Parade, when somebody made a joke about that. Oh, she was deadly about that. But anyway, we have the bus here, and then, other things that I'm doing. I just felt today I better not bring it just because I had too many things going on.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
you just said that, Don. So much other going on. If people don't know Don Baldaseroni, he's involved in the Chamber of Commerce. He's involved in the Historical Society. He sits on the city's Heritage Commission. He is, Don is quite involved. In fact, Don just got awarded the oldest person in Burbank. No.
Close.
Your award was, what was it called?
The Peter McGrath Senior Citizens Award.
For participation in everything you do.
Yeah.
I knew Peter, and
Oh, yeah.
congratulations
Yes.
on your award.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. And people don't realize how important that it was to me when somebody nominated me for it because I knew Peter so well. I mean, we'd sit at different meetings, whether it be the Chamber of Commerce, city events and things, and, well, hey, how do I fix my 66 Ford Mustang? And we talked for hours on stuff like that, And Peter was just a great person. So it was really an honor to be honored by that.
Well, if you see Don at one of these events, you want to know a little of Burbank history. That's why he sits on the Heritage Commission. Gas station at Olive and First was yours, or
Olive and
Glen
First?
Oaks?
Both.
Oh, look at that.
Well, how about Burbank and Victory, the 76 station? I owned that one too. So,
So he pumped a little gas in this town.
Yep.
So, he's been
Wow.
around. He's seen the city change quite a bit.
and I'm gonna sit there and say, congratulations to you for being heart of the city, Mr. Ross Benson.
Oh, that's right. We're all us old folks are getting awards because they don't know how long we'll be around.
That's right.
So, but, Don, you mentioned the Historical Society. They got a big event coming up, don't they?
We sure do. We sure do. This whole year is our 50th anniversary. Okay, and we started out by a tea a month ago, and we had that sold out. Now we're coming up with in July 15th. We're having a barbecue, and really sponsored. We have a lot of sponsors. Obviously, the Cusimanos, obviously the Augustine family, and the city of Burbank, which is a great partner to be a partnership with. They've been super, even with the Road Kings or the Historical Society. I really can't say too much more about them. I mean, they're good. But I wish I could think of all the other sponsors that we have.
Well, you just said, Ashley and I were talking before we went live that you have some not only local, but you got some people that donated to today's show that we need to recognize.
You know, that's really, really true. Local would be easy. I mean, that's Community Chevrolet. They're right down the street here on Olive. They're a big supporter of the Road Kings, and we support them back at their car shows and things. And believe me, as I tell you this, it's the honest God truth. I buy Burbank. I wouldn't buy a Chevy if it was $1,000 less someplace else. It'd be Community Chevrolet was where I'd buy it. Okay.
You're a lifelong Burbank person. That's
Yeah, I get 10% off on that. I want you to know. No, only kidding. And then the big one, the big one is that we had a car club out of Spokane, Washington, the Gents Car Club. They actually donated over $500 to the trophies for the Mercuries. Now, these Mercuries probably represent conservatively $3 million worth of cars out here right now, just on the Mercuries alone. And they donated the money for that. You know, great car club up there. They're super.
I don't think people realize we have a picture that we'll shoot that we shot of all these awards. There is a table full of some gorgeous awards, and those don't come by free. You know, to put on an event like this, you know, and you're presenting, and that's what these guys work on their cars to go home with that plaque.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I know I've gone into some of these people's garages, and you look at all the awards that they've gotten at car shows like this or Holiday in the Park. Yeah. You know, Road Kings is here or there, and
oh yeah, without a question. I can't wait for Holiday in the Park, and then maybe someday we're going to have a Burbank on Parade.
Yeah,
let's hope so.
That a little bit earlier.
I mean,
today,
you know, realistically, I mean that's what we want to see. This is a Burbank event, just like the Burbank on Parade. It makes the quality of the city shine. What we do.
Well, I always say this is kind of community.
Yes.
And I'm walking down. I ran into Jan Bartello, who used to work for the city, you know, and I saw her, and I ran into somebody else that formerly worked for the city, and people that have known me. We had, you know, people come to the booth here that I went to school with. You know, I mean, that's 50 years ago. High school, I'm going to have a 50-year reunion next year. I can't believe how that is.
Burbank or Burroughs?
You better be Burroughs. It's that red and white. My son went to Burbank, blue and white.
Oh, he's leaving.
And you know, it's funny. When I cover football games, I look at my wardrobe. What am I going to wear to an event? And it's really funny because we have to. We have people write to My Burbank that we've gotten letters. People say, you know, you write too many sports stories of the other school. Or you write, and it's just, we don't. We really try to be even. All of our writers try to be even.
You got to get us 2 uniforms, one Burroughs, one Burbank, and have somebody sew it together so you wear both at the same time.
That would be hilarious.
You know what? The
I was
rivalry.
going to say, no, I should just not wear anything. And you couldn't tell. Oh, you don't want to see that.
Boy, that's a visual.
No, you don't want to see. This is an R-rated or a PG podcast.
Yeah.
But no, again, Don, great job today. Great
Thank
job
you.
on
Thank you.
all the projects you do. I know we run into each other at the chamber events here at every one of my ribbon cuttings. We don't miss them, and there's just a lot of people here in town that love making Burbank what it is, and you're one of them.
Thank you. That's really appreciated. And, you know, without, I don't want to say paper, but without your
My Burbank.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Well, it's
My
a digital
Burbank.
newspaper. You know, it's hard to say. A lot of people are so trained on newspaper, and but we're a digital newspaper. And like I said at the City Awards, you know, we're around this town when they used to have a daily newspaper or a twice-a-weekly newspaper. Well, My Burbank, Craig I should say, moved us into the digital world 15 years ago, and Craig and I feel Burbank deserves its own news source. You know what? People listening, there's nothing against Glendale. I don't care what goes on in Glendale. You know, I live in Burbank. I care what goes on here.
Well,
and I do my shopping here. I could count on one hand how many times I've been to Americana. You know, I haven't been over there that much. But it's the thing about living here in Burbank. So, you know, you come to events, and this is what makes community.
Exactly. You go over there and you know all the people here. I mean, I've seen it. Just walk around and,
Yep.
And we had the St. Francis Xavier Fair this weekend as well.
That's
so
right.
saw people we know there and here. It's just I love when there's something every weekend like this where we can just be with as a community and see the people that you went to school with. Or I absolutely love it.
Yeah, you hear so many other communities that don't put on events anymore.
Mm.
It takes a lot to put on events, as you know, and you know, Ashley.
Yeah.
You know very well. Holiday in the Park, 30,000 people. That's a ton of people to attract and to coordinate it and work it and so forth. And I find like this, but, we believe in our community, and it's just great to see all these people smiling, people like you say. We don't have to go far, and we're such a safe and fantastic community, so.
We have such amazing organizations like the Road Kings and the Historical Society that are getting to put these events on. I mean, I think that's what keeps this whole city going is these nonprofit organizations and, all the ones that you're a part of. And, yeah, we're so proud to be.
Well, we had a lot of people. We had people come up earlier in the day when Austin and I were setting up, and the guy says, "This is where I find out what's going on in Burbank." They listen to My Burbank's podcast. They said we would have no clue what's going on here or there. You see something. So Craig and I know we're very grateful that we're doing it. We're filling a void. We're trying to pick the news things that people want to know about in our community so they're aware of what's happening. And this podcast is new. We're going to start doing video, or we've started doing video. Things have changed.
As long as you keep your clothes on, okay.
I promise you. I promise. All right, Don. Well, you got. I see you got your little cart here ready to truck on, and thanks for stopping by and talking with us. And
yeah, thank you. We got about an hour left of this car show, and we're so excited to be here with you.
That's good. Then I'll see you on the 15th at the museum.
We'll be there.
Okay, thanks, guys.
How would you like your business advertised in this very spot? My Burbank Talks is looking for businesses interested in a 30-second spot to appear in our podcasts. If you're interested, please email advertising@myburbank.com, and we'll be glad to discuss all of the exciting opportunities with you. Now, back to our podcast.
Oh, we're back for another great interview. Well, you know who we happen to have in the booth on headset, and I'm told he spells his name the same way forward or backwards. Bob Greene, who is the
fleet manager.
Now, Bob,
Chevrolet.
Ashley and I were having an argument before. Is that the whole fleet, or can you get a half a fleet?
I can get a quarter of a fleet.
Oh, now that's pretty good. Fleet manager for community, and you also said you're the head bottle washer over there.
That too.
That's what I thought. And you have this vehicle next to me here that I think you need to have a special driver's license to drive it, don't you?
And be tall enough to get into it.
Yeah, I don't have to throw myself into that one.
So you brought a car. You're one of the co-sponsors of today's event, and you got this gorgeous shiny car that has tires that are bigger than me. I think, like you say, it's shiny. You said the lift package. Is that to lift me into it, or is that just what it costs to do this part of this vehicle?
That's the cost of doing that particular vehicle. It's a company, so it's an actual Chevy Silverado 1500 with a 5.3 V8 in it. And then there's a company by the name of Rocky Ridge who does a 6-inch lift, retractable running boards, actually redoes the leather seats in it, and a special shocks for it as well.
Now, you said that alone is
about $31,000 to add on, because they also changed the exhaust system in it as well.
Now, see, Ashley was thinking about looking for a new car, and he hasn't told you what the vehicle costs now.
I can't even afford the lift package, so.
Well, that's the myburbank.com salary that you're on. That's why. But this vehicle sitting next to us, a $100,000 vehicle. Then.
Well, it's about $94,000. So yeah, just obviously just under $100,000.
And you have people come in with chump change that can buy this.
They can write a check for it, finance it.
Holy shit!
I like that it comes fully done, though. It's fully loaded, ready to go. You don't have to do much else to it.
Ashley,
Exactly.
if you got a vehicle like this,
I wouldn't be able to park that.
well, not only park it, but you would have an argument with Brian, your
Yeah.
husband, who's taking the kids to school today.
Well, we have a black Chevy Silverado, actually, and it looks very similar to that, a little bit different. We have the lift, and I have to throw myself in there, and it has the retractable steps on the bottom and the tint, and I refuse to drive it.
I could see that. Don, can you believe the turnout today out here?
He called me Don again.
I did. Look at that.
Those three-letter words he just can't do.
Well, we were just talking about my brain, so
That's okay. It's they've been doing this for like 30 years, and they get roughly 300-400 cars. And this is the first year we were actually co-sponsoring it. So I was out here last year, and I kind of gave them the idea, hey, we're the only new car dealership in Burbank, so we should be a co-sponsor.
That brings up a good point.
Yeah.
They are my Burbank's best
Yep. Car dealership.
car dealership.
2023 and 2022, and probably 2021. Did we do one then? Yes.
And that's pretty cool. I mean, did Ashley? She has certificates and stickers.
Yep.
We're going to put all over your car and your shop and your office and so forth.
She gave me the packet, yes.
All right. Yeah, and there's some special goodies in there, and we're glad you're out here today. I'm glad, you've been a sponsor of My Burbank, I think, for a long, long time. You have an ad on our My Burbank main page, and I know you're listed back in the recap that Ashley edits and puts together, and we thank you for your sponsorship. And
Absolutely. I mean, I think I had mentioned we're the only new car dealership in Burbank, and we try to do things to go along with our name, community.
Yeah.
Be involved with the community.
You are very involved in the community. I see you at every event. You sponsor Holiday in the Park. I see you at the chamber events.
I'm one of the ambassadors
Yeah, you
for our
live up to
chamber
your
also.
name for sure.
well, it's great to be in the community, and we're doing. Ashley's glad to be doing Holiday in the Park again. She's going to be knocking on your door for sponsorship there, but it's great to see a vehicle like this. Thank you for your participation.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I actually am in the market of a new car, so I got to come see you.
Okay.
Not that.
Look at that.
Maybe something smaller.
or lower.
Yeah, smaller, lower. Yeah.
You can tell your boss you did talk to people about buying cars today, because it's now public information that somebody did talk to you right here.
Absolutely.
We'll come see you at Community Chevrolet.
Okay, awesome.
Well, we're glad you're with us.
Thank you so much.
It's 2:45 on my watch, and they gave out all the awards, and people are starting to head. We're hearing cars start up, and it looks like the park is going to be a little different in a few minutes.
Think so.
Yep.
And how do you drive this out here? It's just you bowl over everybody.
The same way I drove it in.
Oh, okay.
Weaving.
You drive this?
Yeah.
Your boss lets you take this off the
Yeah.
lot,
I brought a Corvette last year.
and he lets you drive that?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's part of his fleet.
Right, exactly. Good point.
Good point, Ashley. Good way to wrap it up. Fleet manager Bob Greene from Community Chevrolet. Thanks for being with us, Bob.
And by the way, my cell phone number is 818-521-2172 for any interested parties.
I love
There
that.
you go.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you so much.
All right, we have Michael Raymon. He's a firefighter at Station 11 with us, and he brought a couple vehicles out at the car show today. Thank you for joining us today. Can you tell me a little bit about the two vehicles that you brought today?
So we brought out our 1913 Moreland fire engine, and then we also brought out our 1967 Crown. Both of them are get in, fire them up, take them down without a whole lot of legwork on much of our parts, and it's kind of fallen on me. I'm just when I got hired on a couple years ago that I saw these, and it's incredible to me that there's rigs this old that actually run and not just sit in the museum. So I immediately took an interest in trying to get them going again, and like we were talking about, trying to get the club started up, and I reached out to a lot of the guys that are in my class and the classes previous, so around the same age group. a lot of positive feedback. They're very interested in getting involved. So we're just trying to take that and run with it.
Well, a lot of people don't know that piece of apparatus rebuilt, and it takes a lot to maintain them.
Yes.
The Crown kind of is a war horse of fire engines. They've been around for years, but the Moreland, like you said, it has real rubber wheels, and it's a classic piece. But you also have the Christie, which is another that wasn't out here today, but it's a steam driven.
It's a gas engine driven for the front portion of the chassis. It's a 1914 Christie engine, and then the chassis itself is a 1906. Used to be horse drawn, like you said. It used to be a steamer. It used to be there's a boiler on it, get steam pressure, and that's how you would operate the pump.
And people don't realize, folks, that's how they fought fires back in the day. I mean, you put the wet stuff on the red stuff and it goes out. That's the old line. But when you were talking getting your boiler going and steam and
They actually would use them. They would hook them up to the station. They would use them to help heat the station. So they were always kind of going. And then it wouldn't take much in the way of just a good feeding of fuel before you take off. They were already ready to roll by the time you get on scene.
Well, the rigs you have out here today, like you said, they're easy because you can get in them, start them, and go. Jay Leno was here, and he was kind of happy to go look at it. If people, the Muster Association or the Firemen's Historical Group, they're always looking for donations to restore, to maintain this stuff. It doesn't do it, it sits there. And it doesn't get used daily. And if anybody wants to make that a donation, fire department will be always glad to do it. And you say you're on 2 years now?
2 years, yep.
And I've been around for about 45. Most of those old pictures in the station are mine.
Lots of them.
Yep, there are a lot. I've been doing this. I've been doing it since that fire chief over there, Kenneth Robertson. We were firemen at Warner Brothers together.
Oh, that's awesome.
You can ask him about our days at Warner Brothers. Good old Engine 18.
Cool.
And he's a John Burroughs High graduate, the local kid. And he's been a battalion chief for a while. It's nice to see him. Fire Service Day, I saw him out there with a rag, literally polishing.
That's it. We take a lot of pride in these, and it doesn't matter your rank. A lot of guys, especially the ones that saw it come up from nothing, take a lot of pride in seeing it be brought back out. And then, I've been a gearhead forever, like ever since I was a little kid. I was raised in a family of gearheads. So to me, to get involved in any of this is like second nature. This is what I do for fun. So to see these out here, it's like, sure, let's do it. Like,
well, we mentioned him. Look at this. Oh, look at that. Look at that captain over there giving you little eyeballs over here. I happen to know Paul Magnetti for many years. We were neighbors, but
the captain.
Yeah, he is. I'm glad he got promoted. You know what? It's I know you guys are ready to drive off, but take him back to headquarters. I'm glad they have somebody now like yourself, Michael, that wants to do that. I'm good friends with Terry Mancuri. We go back way back, and he worked on that stuff day and night. If he was at Station 13, he'd be working on one of those rigs, and he's so glad that somebody is now.
And I'm glad that it really I can see the spark of enthusiasm kind of come back in a lot of these retired guys that were, this was their passion when they were here. So that makes me happy. I mean, that's that's a big reason that we do it, is trying to keep this history going. This isn't something that should be allowed to sit and rot and fall to the wayside. I mean, there's way too much labors of love and effort put into these to let them just sit in the museum and do nothing. So that's why I was very happy to get a chance, and it was a real important thing for for us to get out here.
Well, I'm glad the department is allowing you to do it, because usually a 2-year fireman, you're out there still doing lots of training and lots of exercise. But, I mean, that is an art in itself. And, again, thank you for what you do, not only as a Burbank firefighter, but also working, bringing history back to the public's eyes.
Yeah, not a problem. Hopefully next time we'll be able to get to Christie out, if not to this show, maybe something more coming up sooner.
We're gonna do
Holiday in the Park.
We got Holiday in the Park. That
love to have it out for
bring
that.
about 30,000 people out.
Be great.
And maybe by then it could we could fire it up and pump some water out of it. I'm even thinking I'd love to do a little mini muster on Magnolia Boulevard, where the guys Bucket Brigade. I want to talk to your union president, Eric Rowley. We used to go to musters together.
Yeah.
And people don't understand Bucket Brigades. That's true how they fought fires. People don't get it. This is nowadays your equipment is state of the art. It's spaceship stuff. You know, they got an electric engine in that other department called LA City.
Crazy.
But you know, here it's nice. We have a couple of new rigs coming in. The fact that they're working on that Burbank's replacing. Guess a couple engines in a truck, I believe, right?
That's it. That's right.
So, well, again, Michael, thanks for coming on over and thanks for taking care of that stuff.
Yeah, not a problem. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it.
Thank you.
That's what we're here for.
All right, we have Bruce Borst here with the Road Kings. He's the treasurer, past president, and we are just wrapping up this car show, and he's joining us in our last moments here. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Well, Bruce, you know, you and I go back to grade school, to middle school and then high school, and then you went to work for a little beer company for a while. And
beer company in Van Nuys.
And you retired from Anheuser-Busch this last year, and I know you've been in Road Kings for a long, long time.
Well, they called me back to work.
They did. That's what I saw. They pulled you out of retirement, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, I work 3 days a week, so
there you go.
Still get free beer. So.
Oh. and it's got to be Anheuser-Busch, you know.
There's no other beer.
Got your golf cart here with the logos all over it. How did today go to you?
I kind of borrowed that.
Did they go good for you?
Yeah, it went well. I got here a little after 4 a.m. I actually hired an Anheuser-Busch guard, and he came over. We actually contacted the Burbank police the night before. They came by a couple times. Got here bright and early, and within 15 minutes, I had a vendor crawling at the gate. Then some of our other members, they showed up, and here come the cars. They started blocking off Bob Hope. So it started, we were very apprehensive because of the weather. I'm in Santa Clarita, even though I still have a house down the street. And it was drizzling all along the 5 and the 14 interchange. And then it just all of a sudden, went away when I hit the 170.
This was perfect.
Oh, yeah.
This was lovely. I mean, I didn't put sunscreen on, and it was just great. Well, you know, it was just, I know how you love Burbank. A longtime Burbank guy, and this was community.
Yeah, this is great. I remember hanging out in this park. I can remember riding our Schwinn's in that creek over there. And then, we would play war over in this park and throw Frisbees. And
kind of nice to.
And some other stuff you do in high school in this park. So, yeah. I remember when the street was a dead end, and we would watch the helicopter land.
Yep.
Late Friday nights.
Yep, exactly. I flew in a couple of times over here when NBC had their helipad there. Well, you know, I'm going to contact you soon because we might want to get some Anheuser-Busch as a sponsor for a car show. You know how to do car shows and events. Maybe in Magnolia Park. You know, like Bebop in the park like they did years ago.
As long as we can sell beer there, I'm sure they'll be on board.
Well, if we could figure something out, if they would be a sponsor, and I know you probably know one or two people over there.
I know a few.
So we might want to do that because I also want to have Road Kings. Anything you do in Burbank, you got to have Road Kings.
Yeah, what people don't know is because I grew up down the street from, called something else now, but Jordan Junior High. Jimmy Miles, who lived at Griffith Park in Oak, I lived above Griffith Park in Oak. He was below. I used to be his daily review paper boy.
So was I.
You weren't Jimmy's paper boy. I was.
Yeah, this is true.
And, I was a paper boy for Jimmy, and I can recall him firing up that Chrysler with a Fiat body, and the whole neighborhood shook.
Then wasn't Tommy Ivo also?
Tommy Ivo was at Oak and Orchard.
Yeah.
And I was also the paper boy to the fire station. Well, it was called 5 in my day.
That's right.
Beechwood and Fernugo, and we'd play basketball up there. And Genio's, when Genio's was there, I was their paper boy. And we would go to Olive Rec, and we'd play men's softball. So, yeah, I have a lot of history in this.
Well, it's funny. I think of the Daily Review.
Yeah.
My first picture, there was a brush fire right over here at Griffith Park. And I took it up to the Burbank Daily Review. Mike Harris was the city editor, and he says, "There's the darkroom. Go develop your pictures." And I go, "What? Develop my pictures?" And I called a friend who helped me get through it. And then we walked out with 2 wet eggs He clipped him with a paper punch. Said, "Give me 2 shots." The next day, it came out on the lower right column, front page of the Burbank Leader. I went to every stand in Burbank, and it was on every paper.
Didn't Mrs. Trempy teach you that?
Good old Betty Trempy.
Yeah.
Good old Miss Trempy. But you're a Burroughs guy, you know. We had some Burbank High people out here today.
They don't
But this was a great event. You know, it's guys like you and quite a few of the others that today was a great day.
Yeah.
This is Burbank on purpose.
We actually had a class of 75. I gave them a spot over there. 'Cause they wanted
saw
to
that.
network with some other people for. It's going to be 50 years coming up.
Can you believe that? Can you believe
no,
that, buddy?
No, I can't. I can't.
Well, we're wrapping up. The cars there's still some cars still left in here. They're pulling out the fire engines, and I know you're out here trying to get it all cleaned up, make sure there's no broken sprinkler heads.
Oh, I know.
The city will be all over you for that.
We had to give a healthy deposit.
Yeah, I know. And
Pretty clean though. I mean, look at this. I mean, there's not much debris. They're loading out really quickly. It's almost just how you entered it.
Yeah, I hope so. we have a lot of stuff that we have to do, from permits, LA County health permit. The parks get involved. We have to do a walk in the park. We'll do a post walk in the park, but they're pretty easy to work with.
Good. Well, like I say, I want to do another community event like Road Kings. I can picture them lined up from Hollywood way to Buena Vista.
All right, no, we're there. We're there all about Burbank. I mean, when I was president, my obligation to this community was if charity's not in Burbank, I don't even want to really.
Well, we didn't bring that up many times. We've had several people from Road Kings over today. You guys, I cover it every year. You guys donate.
If it doesn't have Burbank in the sentence, we have the Burbank Historical Society. We have the Burbank Police. We have the Burbank Boys and Girls Club. And then my very passionate one is Burbank Temporary Aid.
Yep, PTAC.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't realize. The vendors today and everything out here, you guys make a very, very to all these organizations, and that's why you do your shows.
Yeah, that's exactly why we do it.
And we got to thank the people for coming out and spending their time. And
We had people come from Northern California, from San Diego to Las Vegas. They drove out here.
There was even we interviewed a guy who flew out here from Idaho
I didn't
to
even
have
know
his
that.
car here. Yeah.
He brought potatoes.
I think he left the potatoes there, but he
No
did bring a
potatoes?
very nice car.
All right. Yeah,
oh, there's a fire truck from another city. They're lost.
Yeah.
They must be going to this great hospital over here, also known as St. Joe's Hospital, who is one of our sponsors for My Burbank. Providence St. Joe's are probably going over to the brand new emergency ward over here. Yeah, it's looking like it's clearing up. Thanks for coming over and
absolutely
helping us wrap up the show. And good job.
I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
Great.
Thank you.
Wow, what a day. The sun didn't come out, and I'm so glad. But my legs are like mush. I think I must have walked 5 miles today.
It was a long day.
Ashley, you did some fantastic interviews. Craig, you opened up the show, and you've been at the controls the whole day. What do you think, Ashley?
I think it was fantastic. I'm so impressed with the Road Kings and what they've done. We've had so many of their board members on our show today and talking about the work that they're doing in the community and the organizations they're supporting, and just seeing all these people out here from Burbank, and even the organizations that had the booths all around here. We had Jacaranda Housing and all these amazing places. So I think it was a fantastic day. It was really beautifully put together. You can hear the horns and the cars all heading out.
Oogas and the sirens. And
Yeah, there's a lot going on right
a lot
now.
of people are wrapping up. I'm going to blow my horn when I pull out of here, too. But no, thanks a lot for coming out early. And thank you, Austin, for doing the engineering and helping us out and doing pictures. We're going to have Ashley will work on a story this week. She'll do a video roll, which they look fantastic. And Craig will edit the show, and we'll have it up online. And you know what? It's another podcast in the can.
And then we'll also have a good have it on YouTube also, so you can see some of the sights and sounds also from the event. So
someday we will have smell.
Once again, these are the events that make Burbank and makes the city special. And it's just there's so many community members out here, and departments working together and everything else. And this is what makes Burbank special, and it was a good day. You know, the weather cooperated with us, which we're all happy about, and that's about it.
And on 3, we'll all say 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Burbank.
All right.
And My Burbank Talks is off to another one.
All right.
Okay. We'll talk to you next time.
Here you go.
My Burbank Talks would like to thank all of My Burbank's advertisers for their continued support. Burbank Water and Power, Cusimano Real Estate Group, Providence St. Joseph Medical Center, Burbank Chamber of Commerce, UME Credit Union, Tequila's Cantina and Grill, UCLA Health, Gain Credit Union, Community Chevrolet, Media City Credit Union, Eric Garcia of Farmers Insurance, Providence High School, UPS Store on 3rd Street, and Hill Street Cafe.